But it's episode number 6 of CoachTy's Corner. Today we got another good action-packed show for you. I have a special guest in the house that I'm going to introduce shortly. We'll go through a normal routine. I'll give you Ty's rants and raves about Madden, Tim, if applicable. I'll predict some NFL games, talk about some league happening, and we'll wrap this puppy up. Once again, like last week, we're gonna try to keep this under an hour, and we're gonna start the show today with, instead of a Ty opinion or a Ty rant, I have a special guest today, Coach Kofi, the head smacker, aka head coach of the St. Louis Rams, who started out the season pretty bad, I might add, but are now 5-4. Kofi's turned it around. He started out with one of the worst teams in the league this year. Due to a bunch of good trades made on his part, he now has a pretty good team, and he's actually looking like he might be making the playoffs for a show. Excited to have Kofi on. I'm going to turn it over to him. I'm going to let him speak his mind, unedited, unadulterated for all you guys. So keep in mind that the opinions of Kofi are not the express opinions of the host and executive producer, Reggie. I'm going to give Kofi free reign to do what Kofi does. So at this time, Kofi, take it away. It's yours.
Welcome in the building. Welcome to a couple good minutes with the smacker, where I get to talk freely. Please, nobody take offense to what I'm saying. I'm just getting a little bit of stuff off my chest to make the league a little interesting. Well, I'd like to start by saying congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens, 8-0, man. And I see that's not an easy thing to do. And the Oakland Raiders, 0-8. Sucks to you right now. I mean, hey, but I can't talk. I started off the same way, man. I had to get in practice mode and do the same thing. Booney Mac. Wow. What a year has done to you. The Atlanta Falcons. Whew. Well, thanks for the Julio Jones trade. I'll show you how to use them. You know, let's talk about my team, the St. Louis Rams. Welcome back to the greatest show on turf. You know, I started off slow. I had to hit my stride. You know, now I'm on my playoff push. I'm on a 4-game winning streak. Hopefully this hit 5. Just knocked off one of the top players in my conference, the San Francisco 49ers. What a great opponent, you know. Didn't quit, played it to the end, even though he was getting destroyed. He played it to the end. You know, after the game, he hit me up for a trade. I almost was reluctant to trade with him because he started asking for people that was destroying him in the game, you know. But I gave him what he wanted. He wanted Chad Johnson. You can have him. I got a shutdown corner out the deal. That's great. Now let's talk about anarchy. A 50-year-old man. Come on, Doc. You are too old to be still crying about losses. Now, I addressed this last season with you on the radio show. But I'm going to say it again. And do not blow my phone up talking disrespectful about me. I mean, come on, Doc. Talking about kicking me off your friend list. You're too old for this. You're old enough to be my father. And that's real talk. My dad is around your age. And I commend you because you're still playing Madden. I want to be playing Madden around that age, too. But you are too damn old to be calling or texting people talking about you're going to kick them off your friend list because you got destroyed. You know, sit in the lab and get some damn practice in. Learn how to play the game just like I did. It's real simple. You know, wow. Let's talk about a lot of these teams, and we're looking at the stats right now. Congratulations to the Jaguars. You're looking good in your conference. You got a lot of good competition. Whew, that NFC East is looking tough, except for them Cowboys, you know. And let's go to the trades. You know, I had to talk about the trades a little bit. I did a few. You know, I was over my trade limit, but they took the rule away, so I was able to go free. But a lot of y'all are getting over on these trades, i.e. Spud, No Fan. Yeah, I call y'all by name. Y'all robbing these people for these trades. None of these trades are going down as even, but hey, that's just my opinion. Y'all might see it otherwise. I'm just seeing a lot of lopsided trades going on. I mean, especially when y'all approach me with these dumb trades, like I'm just going to say yeah. But either way, if you can get it, get it. I can't knock it. It's up to administrator to veto it. But that Tom Brady trade, that's just one that's on my radar. Russell Wilson for Tom Brady, I don't think that will ever happen. But, hey, way to take advantage of a newcomer to the league. You know, that happens. Yes. Jimmy. Man, you already started off with a sorry team. Why did you trade away Dwayne Bowe? Come on, dog. That's the face of your franchise. You don't trade away that. And you didn't really get anything in return. But hey, like I said, these are just my opinions, guys. Don't take offense to them. This is just how I feel, how I see the league right now. I'm loving the new website. You know, this is the first time I get to talk about it. Kind of like it's more than the other one. You know, it's looking kind of good. Can we get some diversity on the Babe of the Week? That's all I'm saying. It's just my opinions. Kind of getting a little same rotation going around here. The Babe of the Week. I mean, I can send you some pictures if you need to, but we can get a little bit more explicit. We grown men around here. But yeah. Other than that, I love the Twitter feed. I'm following the league on Twitter. I love that. That's a great addition to the league. Let's see. I would love to see the Rams up there a lot more on the website. You know, we are on the 4-game winning streak. Let's talk about something that's relevant, and we are pretty relevant right now. You know, congratulations to Ben Roethlisberger for leading the league in passing, because you know that's my title. Got a new quarterback in mid-season, so I probably won't be able to take that, but I will have it next season. Look for me in the top 5. And I'm going to hand it back over to Ty. That's a couple good minutes with the Smackers.
You know what? And I appreciate that, Coop. That was actually a pretty good segment. Some pretty funny takes, some pretty good takes, and different takes other than mine. You know, I might have to find Koofy a time or two again as the season progresses. And I've made this offer to any and everybody else. Anybody else that feels like, hey, I got something on my chest that I want to get off, and you want a couple of minutes of Coach Ty's Corner, hit myself up or hit Big Reggie up. Our numbers to be texted or emailed, and our information is on the website. So, again, appreciated to Coach Koofy, the Smacker. His Rams are on the up and up. He's done a lot of good work to improve that team. They have a winning record now at 5-4, and they are making the playoff push. So, thanks for your comments and your time, Coach Koofy. Take it easy. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. I'll holler at y'all later.
No problem. Take it easy. All right. So I think that was a different, fun, and fresh way to start off Coach Ty's Corner. Last week I came to you guys with some schemes, how to build a scheme on offense and defense. And the week before I came at you guys with some other tips. So I'm just going to kind of give you my viewpoints on a few things going forward that have been the big talk of the Madden Daddy League. So first thing I want to start off with is I want to talk about a hot topic in the chat box today on Madden Daddy. If you guys want on Madden Daddy, there were two big conversations. One between Noel Fan and Staff Sergeant Pettigrew about a trade that went bad, and the other big talk was about people that like the game and people that don't like the game. And it seemed that when I commented on that, there was a few different opinions. So I'd like to take this time to kind of clarify my stance and position. Basically, what I was stating is, I know a lot of people in a lot of leagues. I know a lot of Madden ballers. My friend list is extensive. I also know a lot of the top quote-unquote Madden YouTube commentators and the quote-unquote Madden pros. I talk to these guys on a regular basis. I have good relations with them. And something I've noticed this year is that with Madden 13, I've never seen it before the way it was this diverse. It's strictly two camps I'm seeing. There are those that like the game, and there are those that don't like the game. And I don't see nothing in between. And one of the observations I made was that I noticed that the people who were really good in the game last year, a lot of those folks are folks that don't like the game this year. And a lot of folks that weren't so good last year, this year, due to the way the game plays, they're loving the game. I think you guys have known, and I've kind of made it known, that I'm not a big fan of the game this year. But I want to clarify what that means. What it means is, in terms of the way the actual game plays, I think EA did a great job in trying to make the game more realistic and eliminate some of the BS and make the game more about real football. That I love about the game. To be honest, about the only thing I don't necessarily like on the game this year is the way defense plays. And I'm a blitzing kind of guy. So I wanted to say that because the reason why I said I don't like the way the game plays this year is not because you can't run one blitz all game and sack somebody 18 times. That's not necessarily why. But I feel like EA went out of their way to overpower the offense for the game this year, which every year the game is really a beast on offense. But the improvements they made on defense, I think the cornerbacks have a little bit better awareness in terms of playing the ball. I think they had a ball hawk, which definitely has been a game changer. And I seem to understand those, and they've eliminated the one-hand J.J. Watt, the slow defensive end jumping up in the air with one hand, snatching the ball, Superman animation. So I think they have tried, and the game is headed in the right direction. But what I don't like about the game defensively this year is that, to me, there just seems to be a lack of defense. Now, I know people hear this. The first thing they're going to say is, well, that's not true. You need to get in the lab, Ty. Well, if it was just me, I'd agree. My game's not the best. I'm not perfect, so there's always room for improvement. But when I'm watching the Addy cards online, when I'm watching Master Chappie, when I'm watching Pitch Black Chaos, or Goonies Taking Flight, or any of the top commentators out there, Mr. Golden Sports that you can think of, you know, Dream Killers, I'm Maverick, and I'm watching these guys play online, and they can't keep somebody under 50 or 60 points. And these guys are considered to be the best players on Madden, and I would vouch and co-sign for a bunch of these guys because I follow them, and they're definitely good guys that know what they're doing and can play this game, and they can't keep people under 50 or 60 points. I have to think that there is an issue. Last year, you could buy a defensive ebook, and you could run that in the lab, and you could practice some plays, and you can get your schemes out, and you could literally lock people up. And this year, I just don't feel that's possible. I mean, no matter who out there wants to say defensive ebook, I'd almost tell you ahead of time, don't bother. Like, don't waste your money. All you're going to get in the defensive ebook this year is a bunch of blitzes that work 40% of the time. Well, I need my stuff to work 100% of the time, because if I'm sending a blitz and I'm sending 4 to 6 and nobody's getting home, I'm short in coverage. So when the best of the best can't put out productive ebooks because they don't work, when the best of the best can't post YouTube games where they can keep people under 50 or 60 points, I have to look at that and go, this is not a tie thing. Defense is broken this year. Let's talk about man defense. My team is Detroit Lions. I have Darrell Revis and Cortland Finnegan. Okay, Darrell Revis is a 99 MCV. That's man coverage, folks. And pretty much zig routes, post in or out routes, if you want to call them that, curls. I mean, just about anything can beat man. And I'm not saying Darrell Revis should be Superman, but he shouldn't be able to not react to, I don't know, 18,000 routes in a game, and the guy's got 99 man coverage. Zone, tight end streaks keep zone alive. And basically, if you're playing somebody that's smart enough to recognize what you're in, they're going to throw to where you're not. In other words, if someone's in a cover 3, well, you know those corner routes where a purple should be, if they don't put a defender in a purple or wide open, they can routinely hit those. So while the game is headed in the right direction, I think this year it's going through growing pains. They're trying to get the game headed in the right direction. They've eliminated the shake blitz. They've added the ball hawk feature. They gave the quarterbacks better awareness. At the same time, when you can't play man because everything beats man, you can't blitz because they're inconsistent and don't get in, and zones still don't react well to certain plays, you're kind of in an impasse. So now any and everybody out there is listening to this that wants to tell me about how, oh, well, Ty, that must just be you. You know, I can lock people up. You know, I play zone. I'm noticing even the best of the best YouTube commentators, people in live tournaments. My boy Hollow Point went to a live C4 tournament today in Fort Lee, New Jersey. You know what he told me everybody was running there for defense? Fagby. Now, this is a live tournament where people travel from other cities and states to come play in this tournament. And the best they can do is to play Fagby. I'm 3-5 in the league this year, and I played 8 games in this league, and I played a whole season already in C4, and I'm in the middle of a second C4 season. So just in league games alone, I've got about 20 under my belt. I played 1 trillion unranked games, and I'm noticing that when in doubt, I can always count on people dropping 9, 10 people back into coverage, dropping a spider so I can't run, and playing defense that way. And guys, if you know anything about football, you cannot tell me that the best you have to offer is fag defense. Okay? You can't tell me that the best thing out there is to play coverage D. Now, it's smart to play it this year, but my point being is defense is so broken that you can't line up in a 4-3 or 4-6 and run base plays out of there. You have to drop 9 or 10 people back. The game's in trouble. Now, people get denied all they want. There are people that are doing well doing that. So, of course, those people don't want to acknowledge or recognize that this is an issue. But, guys, that's not football. I'm not Mr. Sim guy, but I'm also here to tell you, hey, listen, there ain't one play on any one team in the NFL, CFL, Arena League that you can think of where you can tell me, oh, yeah, the New York Giants, they dropped 9 people back into coverage. Or they dropped 10 people back, and they just leave one linebacker up there. It doesn't happen. Okay? Now, granted, this is Madden football. It's not the NFL. At the same time, if the way you have to stop somebody routinely on a regular basis is to drop back in coverage like that because you can't play D and get a stop, there's something wrong with the game. It's not that there's something wrong with you, and it's not that there's something wrong with me. But you shouldn't have to do that. If you want to mix that in 2 or 3 times a game, or you want to mix it in when somebody's on the 9-yard line, yeah, it's a good call. It makes things difficult. But when that's your base defense, and you're running the game 70 to 80% of the game on defense, that's what you have to do. That tells me a lot about the defense and the way it plays this year and what's going on with the game. So to go back to why this conversation started, my main issue with the game this year is the lack of defense. The game is definitely headed in the right direction. I enjoy it, and here's the deal. Madden is not going to be to anybody's liking every year, but I'm a fan of the Madden franchise. I love playing competitively. I love playing the guys I know in the league, C4 and NBL. I have fun doing it, even when I'm losing, because I like the mental aspect of matching wits with somebody. I like the mental aspect of trying to adjust to what you're doing and figuring out if I can stop it. And I just really like going at it competitively on the game. Let's face it, most of us in this league are grown men, okay? The days of us getting toys at Christmas and stuff, those days are over. So what we have, this is our toy. This is our fun. This is our relief from the wife, from work, from the real world. This is what we do. We're not out running the streets no more. We're not hitting the bars. A lot of us sit here, and this is how we blow off steam. And it's fun, and I enjoy it. So even if the game is not 100% to my liking, I'm going to give it all I got. I'm going to figure out how the game plays. I'm going to adjust, and I'm going to make the best of it until Madden 14 comes out because I love this game. So let's not confuse the fact with me stating that I'm not a big fan of the game this year, and also pointing out the fact that there's a lack of defense. Let's not mistake that for I don't want to play the game this year, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to clear that up. So another big topic I want to discuss is Philly in Canada, the commissioner. I want to discuss rules in the league. And the reason I want to do this is because it seems like there's been a lot of rules lately made by Philly and the committee. And whenever that happens, inevitably there's, certain people in the league that feel, hey, we're being overregulated. Hey, you know what? Enough's enough. Hey, can you just back off committee, back off commissioner, and let's play our game? I get that to a degree, but I want to go over why. All right, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully the engineer, Big Reggie, can edit that and you don't hear a bunch of gargled, mumbled crap. It's kind of, the weather's been inclement here in Southern California. I think it's affecting my cell phone service. So I'm trying to pick up some of where I left off, and basically where I left off was the second segment. I wanted to discuss the rules of the league and why it's important that the commissioner and the committee rule on certain things. Guys, I know a lot of you feel like it's too much the legislature. I know a bunch of you guys feel like, hey, you know, there's too many rules. But you have to understand the reason why a league exists in the first place and why we do this, okay? The reason why a bunch of us join the league is because we love to play this game, and we laugh hard, and we practice hard, and we want to play the best competition available. But we didn't want to deal with all the BS you have to deal with when you go online and play online ranked. We didn't want to deal with the cheese. We didn't want to deal with the glitchiness. We didn't want to be frustrated with having to deal with that crap. We wanted to play a good, hard football game, and give it our best shot. If somebody's better than us and they beat us, then they just beat us. Now, it's important that a bunch of you guys, all of us, remember that when we're complaining that there's too many rules in legislature. So right now, I'm on the Mag Daddy website and I'm looking at the rules, okay? Sportsmanship. The first rule is no running up the score, okay? The reason that rule exists is we have a bunch of good guys in the league who we can count on to play their games and make the league fun and entertaining. But if it's me, let's say, I'm just going to use me for an example. This isn't me and this hasn't happened, but let's say it's me. Say every game I play, I get blown out by 40, 50 points. The fun in playing this game is gone for me now. So now all of a sudden, maybe I'm a little harder to get a hold of the schedule game. I'm 0-11. I lose all my games by 30 to 40 points. I mean, I don't have any fun or any motivation to pick up the stick, schedule a game, and play. So now we risk running good guys I got out the league and getting in a bunch of guys who are hard cases, who are difficult, who are rude, who are disrespectful, and that's the risk we run when we decide to run up scoring people. So when we ask that people don't want to score, it's just basically to still keep the game fun for everybody. Run your offense, do what you got to do, but, you know, when you go to routinely blowing people out and piling on, you know, unfortunately, no one likes to lose. And when you lose, it's not fun. And when you're losing and it's not fun, and someone's purposely trying to embarrass you, it makes it that much better. It makes it that much harder to continue to play and stick in there and do what you got to do. So that's the first rule. The second rule, foul mouths and being disrespectful to a fellow owner will not be tolerated. You know, we're all grown men here. We have wives, we have families, we have jobs, we have kids, we have things of that nature. Well, the last thing we want to do when we all resort to playing this for fun to blow off some steam is have someone disrespect us. It's not necessary, and we deal with enough disrespect day in and day out in our regular lives. The last thing I need to do is log into a game or a website to look at some scores to have somebody insult me. Okay? That's self-explanatory. Quitting the game will not be tolerated is rule 3. You know what, guys? A lot of us schedule our games days in advance. We put 3 or 4 days into lagging up a practice session, getting together a scheme. We put a lot of time into this. The last thing we want is to start playing the game with somebody and things are going well for us and somebody just quits the game. It's a waste of everyone's time. And it's not fair to the person to put that time in to prepare themselves to play that week. Okay? So when you look at those rules, to the people that may complain, what's wrong with having those rules? It's called etiquette. It's called respect. It's called common courtesy. Since when has that been wrong? Okay? Actual gameplay rules. Okay? I'm going to just state what all these rules are, and I'm going to wrap them all up in one. Okay? Mix up your plays on offense. 2, 5-minute quarters on all pro. 3, no custom playbooks. 4, fixed trade limit per season. Note the trade log has been lost since XFL went down, etc. The 4th down rule, when you are past the opponent's 50-yard line with 1 yard or less to go, you're permitted to go for it on 4th down. If you are behind by 3 touchdowns or more in the second half, you can go for it whenever you like. If you are losing in the 4th quarter, you can go for it whenever you like. 6, blocking punts and field goals. 7, running clock. Do not run clock until there are less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the game or overtime. 7, onside/squib kicks. And 8, side B, you need to have one dude rushing at all time. 9, no manual turbo blitzing. And 10, disconnect rules. Okay? Basically, all these rules are common sense, guys. You know, every time a new rule is introduced by the commissioner, there's always backlash. See the chat box, I talk to guys, and there's always somebody who doesn't like the rule. I can't think of one rule that's been made by the committee or the commissioner that's been unfair to anybody. Any and every rule that I can think of has been made to ensure that the game is played at a high level of integrity and it's fun for everybody. And if no one is doing anything that's blatantly cheesy or glitchy to the point where it makes the game unplayable. Let's talk about the squib kick, okay? The squib kick, there's plenty of online YouTube tutorials, is a kick in which it's a line drive kick with no height to it that can be kicked straight down the center of the field to where the special teams doesn't have a defender there, so the ball goes into a no man's land. And a lot of times, your player on special teams can go down and recover the kick before anybody, the special teams, can get it. Well, people probably want to know what's wrong with that. What's wrong with it is taking advantage of the computer's AI, and the AI is short for artificial intelligence. The game thinks a certain way. The game's not a human person, so it can't cover all of the possibilities that we as human players can do. So when you do something that takes advantage of that, and you know that there's not a anti-way to stop it, it's a cheat. Now, technically, there are ways you could look up on YouTube to recover a squib kick, but it's not the way the game is supposed to be played, and it's taking advantage, in a sense, of the computer AI. And if we wanted to deal with that crap, we can go online ranked and deal with that all day long. We don't join a league to have to worry about every time the ball's kicked to me, I have to do a bunch of special things to recover the kick. Okay? Man up, kick the ball off right, and go down there and make a tackle on special teams. You know, what other new rules have been brought in? No manual turbo blitzing. Okay? If you know what you're doing, you can destroy that turbo blitz. I can, because I know how it looks when somebody sets it up online, and I'll go to my audible package, and I won't want to play the combat that. I'm going to run the ball away from that blitz, and that person's going to be screwed. Or there's several different pass combinations I can do to get the ball off quickly. I'll probably get sacked a few times, but I'll also get my stuff off a few times and make it to where that person doesn't want to blitz. Once again, at the same time, we don't join a league to have to deal with that. We join a league because we want to try our schemes out on offense and defense. We want to line up. We want to play some good smash-mouth football, and we want the best man to win. So the reason why I brought this whole thing up is that when rules are introduced, guys, you need to understand why the rules are introduced, and it's to preserve the integrity of the game and make it to where it's a fun league to be in. Some of you guys feel it's too much legislature, and I feel like at the end of the day, you don't have to play in the NBL. You can join, there's 150,000 leagues online anytime you look online for leagues starting created. You can join any league you want, or you don't have to join a league at all, and you can just play online ranked. But if you join a league like anything else, there's rules for things. There's rules to life, there's rules to society, there's rules to your job, there's rules to the government. Rules are part of life. And I get that to play in a league, I don't want to have to adhere to 55 rules, but unfortunately, everyone doesn't act responsibly, and if you don't have this type of legislation in place, people will abuse and take advantage of things. It's the nature of the beast. Okay? So, that being said now, the third thing I'm going to do, we talked about in the first session, defense being broken in this game. In the second session, we talked about rules and why they exist. The third session, I'm going to try to give you guys just a tad bit of some Madden knowledge, so to speak, and I'm going to go over attributes and what they actually mean. And I think this is a good thing to go over because I see millions of senseless trades made in our league this season, last season. I see people overvaluing guys because I honestly believe people don't know what the attributes actually mean. So when you don't know what the attributes actually mean, you think that a guy who's got a 72 overall is better than he is. You think that you should get 5 guys for 1 player because you don't understand the attributes and how they play. So I'm going to quickly go over the attributes on both offense and defense. So right now I'm going to start with defense, and I am looking at the St. Louis Rams roster because me and Koofy were talking trades, so I happen to be on his roster. Okay, position is self-explanatory. Age is self-explanatory. Now, these definitions I'm going to give you of what the attributes are, they're my definitions. They're not the law. They're what I think they mean. Correct me if you feel I'm wrong. The first one, OVR, overall grade. This is a combination of all of the player's attributes. And it's giving you a rating, telling you how good that player is overall in everything he or she does. Okay? PHY is next, physical grade. Basically self-explanatory. Is this a physical player or a finesse player? Which, depending on your scheme and the position of the player, it's important. Intangible grades. Intangibles are things that you can't measure. You can measure speed. You can measure jump. You can measure catch. You can't measure somebody's instincts. You can't measure their heart. You can't measure their guts. You can't measure their courage. So an intangible grade is a combination of all the unmeasurable attributes. And it's giving, for example, looking at Terrell Brown, quarterback for the St. Louis Rams, his intangibles on 81. Okay? So again, that's a measure of things that you can't measure. What is his instinct? You know, where's this guy's heart? You know, is he a guy that fights through injury and adversity? Is he a guy who, when he's tired, he can fight through it? That's an intangible. Okay? Durability. The higher a player's DUR, durability is, the less likely it is he's to be injured. Terrell Brown's an 85. Okay? Now, if I scroll down and I look at two cornerbacks down, Aaron Ross, he's a 72. So what that means is Aaron Ross is a lot more likely to be injured than Terrell Brown. So when you're looking at durability grade, you always want a player that has a high durability grade. The lower the durability grade, the more likely he is to get injured. Size, self-explanatory. What that basically means is for the position the cornerback's playing, his size is ideal. Terrell Brown is 5'10", but he's a corner. So his size is ideal for that position. If he was 5 foot, it probably wouldn't be ideal to play his cornerback. So he's rated 99, which means he's the ideal size for a cornerback. Okay, production grade. Production grade is based off what that player has done in real life. That's PRD on the roster. Okay, in real life for the 49ers, he's a 66% production, which means he's slightly above average in terms of when he's on the field, his impact. Okay, the higher that number, the better. Perfect example. Kelly Jennings, the rookie corner, the 6-year corner on the Rams, is a 16 production. That means he either A, hasn't been given a lot of opportunities in real life, or when he has been on the field, he has not been that good at all. Okay? Next is MCV and ZCV. Man coverage and zone coverage. That's self-explanatory. Okay? How good is that player covering somebody one-on-one, and how good is that player reacting when he's in a zone defense? Self-explanatory. Next is PRC, play recognition. When that person is in man zone and the quarterback drops back, does that cornerback recognize what play is coming? Okay, he sees a bunch. Does he recognize the route patterns? That's going to determine how that player reacts. Okay? Next, PRS press, self-explanatory. How good is that cornerback's press off the line of scrimmage on the receiver? A low number means the player's more of a finesse player and he's not going to be able to press the receiver for a long time. And a high press number means that person's press, he's a strong physical player and he can lock a receiver up at the line of scrimmage for quite a while. Pursuit, PUR. What that basically means on defense is your player's ability, after the play is made and the ball is in the running back's hands or receiver's court, his ability to track that person down and make a tackle. The higher that number is, the better. Block shed, DSH. We're mainly looking at that number for your defensive tackle and defensive line. And what that means is your player's ability to get off of his blocks quickly and make a play in the backfield, either a tackle or a sack. The higher that number is for your D tackle or D lineman, the better. Okay? Tackle, TAK, that's self-explanatory. When your player wraps up to make a hit, his ability to take somebody down or his ability to miss the tackle or not able to wrap up and hold the tackle. The higher that number, the better. Hit power. Self-explanatory. You have a guy like Patrick Willis, per se, a linebacker, anybody making a hit, the higher that hit power, it means the more likely it is that player is going to be able to injure the player they hit or cause a fumble. So the lower that number is, the better. That number is mainly important for your linebackers, your defensive ends. your DTs, but I'd say more important for your linebackers and safeties than anybody else. Next, jump, self-explanatory. That's important for wide receivers, corners, safeties, maybe linebackers, but not so much. Mainly your wide receivers, corners, and safeties. And that's how high can they jump to make a play on the ball. The higher that number, the better. Next is catching, self-explanatory. The higher that number, the better. Speed rating, self-explanatory. Strength rating, more important for your front seven, your linebackers, but even more important for your D tackles, especially, and your defensive linemen. How strong somebody is, a strength rating, and I'm talking mainly on the defensive side of the ball right now, determines their ability to also shed blocks, make plays, etc. ACC acceleration rating. Speed and acceleration are two different things, so I will explain that. I'm looking at Asante Samuel on the Rams right now. His speed is a 90, his acceleration is a 93. The difference in the two is acceleration is how quickly he can get to his top speed. Asante Samuel's top speed is 90. So once Asante Samuel is off and running and going, he's at a 90. Okay, but his acceleration means he can get to that 90 maybe 2 seconds quicker than, let's say, Aaron Ross. Okay, so acceleration is not to be confused with speed. Next, we have agility. Agility basically is someone's ability to maneuver themselves into a position to make a play. So a perfect example, if you have a DT, he's obviously nowhere near as agile as a cornerback. So what that means is that if a ball was thrown in his vicinity, he may not be able to react physically in a manner in the same way that the cornerback was to make a play on the ball. Okay? Awareness is basically, for example, Asante Samuel is a 95 awareness. So that means whether he's in man or zone, wherever he's out on the field, he's aware of what's going on, the surroundings, the formations, the plays being ran. He's going to be able to react better to plays better than, let's say, the next best guy on the Rams roster, which is Terrell Brown. Terrell Brown is 79 awareness. So he's going to react slower to things than Asante Samuel. It's someone's instinct. Asante Samuel's immediately quickly going to make a play on a ball in his vicinity. And Terrell Brown might be able to make a play too, but he's going to be slower to make that play. Okay? Ball carrier vision is an offensive stat. Carrying is an offensive stat. Elusiveness is offensive stat. Juke, spin, offensive. Stiff arm, offensive. Stamina is a key stat, especially if you like to run no huddle. Okay, the lower somebody's stamina is, the more likely they are to get tired. So looking at Asante Samuel, who has a 95 stamina, it means that he's going to be able to stay on the field a lot longer than someone with a 70 stamina, who might get subbed out 2 or 3 times during the drive. Asante Samuel may be able to last the entire drive without being subbed out because he's in better physical condition. Okay, toughness is a physical trait that's used to measure somebody's ability to take a good hit, give a good hit, press good on the line, get off of a press. It's a physical attribute. Okay? Injury, the higher that number is, the better. Okay? Asante Samuel's a 94. It means he's rarely going to be injured. Aaron Ross is 76. It means it's much more likely that he will miss a game or a few plays at some time this season due to injury. Okay? And that's it for the offensive stats. Next week we'll go over over the offensive side of the ball. We'll break those attributes down and we'll explain them. So, hope those attributes and breakdowns of what they actually mean help you guys out there. They help you to make better decisions on trades, on what to look for when you're valuing certain positions, etc. Again, that was the defense, and next week we're going to go over the offense. Next, we're going to break down Ty's top 5. Ty's top 5 teams in the NBA. The list has changed a little bit this week. Okay, starting number 5. Number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars cracked the Ty's top 5 for the first time this season. They're coached by UGA. He has a hellified offense. I played him. I held him to 14 to 21 points in the first half and wound up giving up 35 to 42 points in the second half. The guy runs a good mixture of no huddle. He likes to streak his tight ends. and you basically got to cover the whole field when playing them because he's also got a pretty good running game. He's got a really nice, well-balanced offense. The defense is okay. It's not the greatest, but he's not giving up 50 and 60 points either. So when you package both his offense and his defense, the Jaguars are 6-2. They are leading the AFC South, and Jags coming in number 5 is one of Ty's top 5 teams. Number 4, San Diego. San Diego dropped from 2 to 4. And the big reason was the biggest upset of the season so far. They lost a game earlier this season to the Browns. Now, I still don't know if that game was simmed or not because I know Fogra and I played him, and I can't believe if the game wasn't simmed that he just lined up and the Browns beat him. If that's the case, because it happens, he must be going through a tough patch because I really can't see that guy losing to Cleveland. No disrespect to Cleveland, but they ain't exactly lighting up the league this year, and Fogra has been one of the top 2 players easily this year, so really surprised there, but Fogra and the Chargers dropped from 2 to 4. Number 3, up 1 is the Chicago Bears at 7-1. Candy lost game 1 of the season, started out on 1, and he's rattled off 7 straight wins without a loss. The guy's just rolling. He's clicking on all cylinders. His defense is economical. It doesn't give up a lot of big plays and a lot of points. And on offense, he's very methodical. He doesn't turn the ball over. He mixes up his run and his pass game well, and he keeps the chains moving. He's been a beast so far, and I see no sign of him slowing down. He is number 3 in Ty's top 5. We have a new number 2. The person who was 3rd last week is now number 2, the New York Giants. 9-1. Most wins in the league this year at 9 games. And a certified beast. I see no weaknesses on the Giants. I haven't played them. I don't know Jay Garute. I don't know how he plays, so it's hard to really go in depth on him. But Eli Manning is consistently a player of the week candidate. He's an MVP candidate. Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz are both voted Pro Bowl talents. So is David Boss. So is Corey Webster. So is Kenny Phillips. Just looking at the stats, the guy is a beast and solid all the way around. His defense is stingy and his offense is high-powered. That's going to be a tough combination for anybody. And number 1 this week, once again, the Baltimore Ravens at 8-0, the only undefeated team in the league. Official headbuster, the coach, he hasn't been in the chat a lot lately. He doesn't brag on himself. He just plays his game. And he hasn't lost yet. And because he's the only undefeated team, and we all know how the game plays this year, that's a pretty special accomplishment. Granted, he's got 8 more games to go. I cannot wait until he and San Diego lock up. But for right here, right now, the guy hasn't lost a game. That speaks for itself. The guy's got no weaknesses. He runs a hot defense. He will blitz you. He will get in there. His coverage is good in back of it. And on offense, he loves to pound the rock with Ray Rice. He will definitely brush you over the top with those receivers he's got. Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden. He had Dwayne Bowe. I seen earlier today Bowe's injured. But I don't think it's going to drastically affect Baltimore. So again, the closing, Ty's top 5. Baltimore, number 1 at 8-0. New York Giants, number 2 at 9-1. Chicago Bears, number 3 at 7-1. San Diego Chargers dropped to 4 at 8-1. And the Jacksonville Jaguars cracked the top 5 at 6-2. So, on to the last segment of the show. We're moving along well here. Good for time. Definitely will be under an hour. Ty's NFL picks. Now, week 4 I went 12-3, and I was pretty happy with myself. I lost a little bit of traction this past week. I went 10-4. Definitely nothing to be embarrassed about. Damn solid, but 10-4 is not 12-3. Now, I'm going to run through the games for this week really quickly, but it's going to be a tough one because just look at the schedule. There are a lot of pick-em games that can go either way, so I don't know if I will fare too well this week. First game, Tennessee and Pittsburgh is already in the books. Tennessee eked out a 26-23 win. I'm glad I didn't have to pick that because I would have picked Pittsburgh and I would have started out 0-1. So now, first game for Sunday, Oakland and the ACL. ACL was a top 5 team in the NFL easily on both sides of the ball. If you stop Julio Jones, Roddy White's a beast. If you stop White and Jones, you got to worry about Gonzalez. When you stop Gonzalez, you got Turner out of the backfield catching and running. And that defense is top 5 turnover-wise. We're definitely going with Atlanta over Oakland. Second game, pick 'em. Baltimore and Dallas. Okay? Baltimore's defense is not exactly as rock solid as it has been in years past. The loss of Terrell Suggs probably has a lot to do with it. Ray Lou's a little older, so is Ed Reed. Dallas has one of the worst offenses in the league this year. Romo is being Romo, throwing 10 picks a game. This is the kind of game that Dallas comes out after being crucified in the media all week and wins. But I am thinking that Baltimore is going to get it done, and it will be another long week in Dallas. Romo will be under the spotlight once again for all the wrong reasons. I'm going to go with Baltimore. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cleveland is not a bad team at all. They're a young team. They get Joe Hayden back, the all-pro corner. That's definitely going to be a big boost. But we are going to go ahead and pick A.J. Green and Andy Dalton, who seem to be rolling, really low-key under the radar. They haven't lost a lot of games, and they are clicking right now. And even though Cleveland is close isn't good enough because we're not playing horseshoes. Let's go with Cincinnati. St. Louis and Miami. St. Louis put on a heck of a performance, beating down Kevin Kolb to the tune of 9 sacks. I mean, that defense just ran roughshod over Arizona. Miami's playing some good ball, surprisingly. They're the league's top receiver, Brian Hartline. A lot of you guys may not know that, but Brian Hartline is leading the NFL in receiving with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Reggie Bush is having another good season, and that D is playing okay, but I am going to pick St. Louis to continue. After watching that performance against Arizona, I think they're on to something. I'm not picking them for the Super Bowl by any means, but I think they'll beat Miami. Indianapolis and New York Jets, another pick'em game. The Jets just are stinking up the joint here of late. Santonio Holmes out for the season. Darrell Reeves is out for the season. They're already cheering for Tim Tebow in New York. Sanchez is struggling. They don't have a lot of weapons on offense. And Indianapolis came off a hell of a gut-wrenching victory over Green Bay for Coach Chuck Pagano suffering from leukemia. Well wishes to him. So they're definitely on a high right now. Don't ask me why, because it doesn't make sense. But I'm thinking the Jets are going to figure out some kind of way to upset Indianapolis and get it done. So my upset special for this week is the Jets beating the Colts. So I'm going with New York. Detroit and Philly. Detroit in the NFL look like Detroit in the NBL. And since I'm Detroit in the NBL, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. Their offense is not exactly clicking. Stafford Johnson Jr. has been real quiet. The defense hasn't made an impact. And they're losing games they shouldn't be losing. Philly is not in their best ball either. They're turnover prone. That's going to be an offensive game, but I am going to give the advantage to Philly. And say they bounce back this week with the win, and they get Detroit. They beat Detroit, and Detroit's woes continue. Kansas City and Tampa Bay, another pick'em game. Matt Castle's probably out due to the concussion or neck injury suffered. I forget which one it is exactly. Tampa Bay hasn't exactly wowed everyone, but they're a lot better than people think. I am going to go ahead and take Tampa Bay in that one. Buffalo and Arizona. Buffalo has looked atrocious in the last 2 games. The NFL is investigating Mario Williams and the Bills for the wrist injury. I think there's not a lot of positivity in Buffalo right now. Arizona's coming off a beatdown on a bad loss on national TV to St. Louis. Arizona gets back on track and they take Buffalo down. New England and Seattle. Okay? New England totally dismantled Buffalo not so long ago and put on one of the greatest offensive performances we've seen recently. Tom Brady and company look to be getting Aaron Hernandez healthy and back at the right time. They have a lot of injuries themselves to contend with. Seattle is a physical, formidable team on defense. I think New England figures out a way to get it done. Minnesota and Washington. Minnesota's quietly playing some of the best ball in the NFL. Griffin III is coming off of that concussion and bad shot he took. Arakpo's out. Parker's out. That's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Washington's capable of putting up a lot of points, but something's off there, and Minnesota's just playing some damn good ball. And after seeing them beat San Fran, I'm kind of a believer. Percy Harvin is having an all-pro season. Let's go with Minnesota. Green Bay and Houston. It's going to be a good game. The all-world, all-everything linebacker Brian Cushing is out for the season due to the mass loss and chop block on Monday Night Football. Houston is the only undefeated team, well, one of two undefeated teams in the league. They're rolling. Green Bay needs to win this game. They need it, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Houston's top-ranked defense gets it done. Let's go with Houston. Denver and San Diego. I'm here in SoCal. I've been watching the Chargers for the last 15, 16 years. The Chargers are one of the most schizophrenic, up and down, you can't call them teams I've ever seen. They're not off to a bad start. Broncos lost a few tough ones. Peyton's traditionally struggled against San Diego, but I'm going with Denver. I think every week is another week that Manning's chemistry with Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas improve. Denver's got a pretty solid defense. They need to win this game to get back to 500. They can't afford to lose this game of division. Peyton gets it done. Now, last game, my New York Giants against the San Francisco 49ers, who I hate with a passion. The only team I hate more than San Fran is Dallas. That's going to be a tough game. I think the Giants get Hakeem Nicks back. He's traveling with the team. It may be his first game in 3 to 4 weeks. Eli Manning's been pretty hot. The Giants have one of the best offenses in the league. They're averaging about 30 points a game. They're able to do it with smoke and mirrors, even without Nicks there. Bennett's banged up. Bradshaw's coming off a 200-yard game. Victor Cruz is coming off a monster game, which he had 3 touchdowns. I'm a little worried about that Giant defense. Combined, Tuck, Umenyiora, and JPP have 3.5 sacks. The secondary is decimated. Kenny Phillips is gone. Terrell Thomas is gone. And Trell Roll is playing injured. Prince Amukamara is playing injured. The 49ers are not a team you want to see if you're not at 100%. The 49ers coming off of an epic, all-time record-setting offensive performance. 300 yards rushing, 300 yards passing. Alex Smith was comfortable and confident. Mario Manningham and Brandon Jacobs would like nothing more than to beat their old team. It's in San Fran. The 49ers won revenge for that loss to the NFC. It pains me to say this because I'm going to root my tail off for my Giants. But it pains me to say this, but I'm going to give San Fran the edge in that game. So that's it for Ty's Picks, and that's it for episode number 6 of Coach Ty's Corner. Again, please pardon myself and Reggie for the technical difficulties midway through the show. I'm having cell phone issues, and Reggie's having issues on his end as well. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Coach Koofy joining in to comment. You guys have a good day, a good week. Good luck in your games this episode, and see you next week for episode 7. We look to try to track down Coach Bogart, the San Diego Chargers, to give us his views and takes in the show. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.